It all started with a message on Patreon from longtime supporter and friend Todd Walton. Hi Ron, I was looking through a current issue of Model Railroader magazine, and in the new products section was an announcement that Showcase Miniatures is producing a Z-scale structure of O.H. Wright & Company Bartlett building. That building really caught my eye, and I went to Showcase Miniatures website to see more information. I found out that the structure was based on an article published in the September 1970 issue of Model Railroader magazine with plans by Elmer Kearney. Elmer Kearney. I don't know. Sorry. I was lucky and found an old copy on eBay and bought it, hoping the plans would be drawn in HO, my modeling scale. Luckily, they are in HO scale. After obtaining the magazine, I scanned the article and have attached the images with this email. This will obviously be a scratch-built structure. I envision it being 12 inch by 14 inch. I like how in the plans the terrain slopes up towards the track. I'm not envisioning any interior, but might like to add some lights to the office area and truck dock. Of course, I am always interested in working with one of my patrons' projects. It is something that I really look forward to doing because, usually my patrons want me to go all the way, whereas some of my customers want me to go as cheap as possible. So this patron work is kind of fun for me. It also helped that I liked the plans. The way Todd described the slope up to the tracks made me feel like the structure would be perched precariously beside the tracks on stilts. Of course, my imagination got away from me, as usual. Plans in hand, I contacted a friend to help me laser cut the walls, which worked out great. I even received most of the windows and doors described in the plans. Money well spent. Thank you, Mr. Crump. So that is how far we've come. And believe me, we took some time getting here. Todd messaged me over at patreon.com/Ron Perry on December 22nd, 2017, and it took some time to organize the supplies and laser cutting. Small problem though. I want to live stream the project so Todd can chat at me as the build unfolds. And I cannot do that for a few weeks yet, so I'm starting the playlist now and hyping up a project that I am really excited about. In short, become a patron and join the community. Let's friggin' make something. Now this is a unique project because it doesn't have any instructions. So my first task is to take all the parts and compare them to the plans that we had in the Model Railroader magazine. So I am just quickly putting them out, numbering them off, and planning how I'm going to build this structure, because at this point I really don't have no plan. As with every wood structure I build, I have to brace it because I add a lot of weathering liquids to the wood, and I like to put every fail-safe in place so that I can do whatever I want during the build. I'm just using some scrap wood here for bracing. And while I'm doing this process, I'm kind of planning how I'm going to build the rest of the project a little bit more. Now I'm changing things up for this project. I'm building all the wood walls first before I paint and weather them. Usually I paint all these walls while they're on the table and then assemble them. However, I want to take some elements of the building and wrap them around, which is kind of hard to do when you're doing one wall at a time. So just assembling the structure first, you know, throwing you a screwball just to show you that I don't always do things the same way every time. Now I give some high praise to Kenny Crump over at KC Workshops because there was really only one small area that I had to fix up on this build, and I would say it's probably fairly hard to design a kit just from plans in a couple of weeks. You know, he's runs his own business and stuff like that, so this is kind of like a side shot for you know, a builder to come in and get a custom cut. And I gotta say, Kenny did a great job. kcworkshops.com. So I built this portion of the kit in the studio before we started the floor renovation. When we do the next video, the floor renovation, well, I'm not gonna jinx that. It'll be there. So you can see how the studio lights, I didn't get all of them on, and it just goes to show how nice this new shop's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be nice. My first step to weathering this building is to put on this steel wool in vinegar stain. I've got a video from a couple of years ago called Homemade Wood Stains for Model Railroads. Check it out if you want to learn how to make it. What happens with steel wool in vinegar stain is the vinegar dissolves our steel wool and puts it into the liquid itself, and when you put it onto the wood, the steel wool oxidizes and rusts, and depending the age of the stain, you get a different look to it. A very fresh stain will give you more of a reddish, rusty look, whereas an older stain will give you a more grayish ink and alcohol kind of look. I let the stain oxidize overnight and didn't like the coverage I was getting because I'm using a stain that was made about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's getting quite weak, to tell you the truth. If you make a fresh stain, you'll get a much different color on your model, and I think that I should replenish my stain. I might make another video for that. Thing is I didn't like, it wasn't strong enough for me. In the pictures that I saw of the model, I saw some extreme weathering and extreme paint peeling and an extreme aged wood. So I put on another coat of the steel wool and vinegar. It's not done. You can easily add another coat and it will get even darker with your color. Surprise, surprise. So my friends, we're gonna end this video with a simple coat of ink and alcohol, which is also described in that Homemade Wood Stains for Modeling video. So check it out. I'll have a link to it in the description below. We're gonna let this model dry off. In the next video, we'll do something else, I assure you. Please become a patron so that you can check out the private vlogs and all these little projects. You know, if you want a project to be done, you can just give me a shout and we can get that done. So patreon.com/Ron Perry. Thank you for watching, and we will have another video shortly. Talk to you later, my friends.